The parents of a Down syndrome child say her school is failing her.
It's scary when you have a child who cannot, verbalize 100% exactly what's going on.
Why they say their daughter's school laptop tells a sad story.
Plus, convicted of a crime and the parents pay a fine.
They should think about that before having children. Having a child is a responsibility.
The new state law working to crack down on juvenile offenders.
Trash, drugs, and garbage scattered around a mid-state greenway. The growing problems from a growing homeless camp. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Well, the countdown to the 4th of July celebration in downtown is underway. Taking a live look right now from our Broadway camera, where we're expecting to see thousands of people pack the streets here in the next 24 hours.
That's right. This time tomorrow, it's going to be something. Now, it's always hot in July, but this year, those crowds downtown will have to brave dangerously hot weather. And Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Brett Luna here with exactly what the folks are going to be up against.
It sure is going to be a hot one. I think we're going to go into the triple digits easy for the feels-like temperatures. Actual air temperatures are going to be in the mid-90s or so for a lot of us right here in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. But here's this map right here just showing you how hot it's going to feel. I think we're going to be talking close to about 105, 106, 107 for a lot of us as we head on into the later part of the morning hours. And then as we go through the rest of the afternoon, we're just going to keep that heat locked in place. This is the noon picture right here. Most of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky feeling like it's about 105 to 110. There will be a chance for some showers and thunderstorms for tomorrow. This is going to be very scattered activity. So if you get caught up in some of these thunderstorms, it could drop your temperature down quite a bit. It feels like 86 for an example in Camden, if that does hold true with one of those thunderstorms moving right over at this time. So just know that if you get caught up in some of those thunderstorms, it will bring you some relief from the heat, but some of those could also bring some strong wind gusts, also some heavy rainfall with some of those storms as well. So still just staying hot as we head through the rest of the afternoon hours. Again, heat index values pushing up to about 110 or so across a lot of Middle Tennessee, and that's why we have these heat advisories in place. Everybody in orange, heat advisory goes until 7 p.m. Thursday. Heat index values could be pushing up to about 110. Excessive heat warnings over there in our far western counties going up above 110 or so. We do have a few showers and thunderstorms that started to develop over the past hour. They're very isolated in parts of Southern Kentucky, far northern portions of Middle Tennessee. That's about it, though. A couple of those might bring some strong wind gusts. Not looking at much of a severe weather threat at all, though, for the overnight hours. Just a couple of those might bring some strong wind. More details coming up for your Independence Day forecast here in just a bit.
And the high cost of homelessness, a growing camp downtown, taking over the Cumberland River Greenway in Germantown. The problems associated with it, tents, garbage, and drugs. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live now at the Metro Courthouse after speaking with city leaders about this camp.
Yes, Scott. Well, we met with Jacob Coupin today, who represents this district and the Office of Homeless Services. Now, the city says that they're committed to helping the people living inside of the camp, but the people living in the area are asking, what about them? Sam Harris has been skateboarding and running on this greenway for 3 years. He says this camp has gotten a lot bigger in the last few months.
If you listen closely, you can hear they have a fully functioning stereo system. They have some sort of power source generator, and then the tents themselves will go all the way back until the greenway curves over there.
Harris says he's seen people with no clothes on, the smell of drugs, and small fires. Harris says one time he tried to put a small fire out.
And I still have the scar on my leg from burnt plastic that when I was stomping it out, it splashed up on my leg.
Fox 17 News went to Metro Councilman Jacob Coupin, who represents this district.
Do you think the city has enough funding to address this homelessness problem?
I think there's so much more we need to do for homelessness. I mean, we're about to open the Strobel Center downtown, which will provide permanent supportive housing units.
Our next stop was the Metro's Office of Homeless Services. Their spokesperson says that outreach workers are aware of this camp and visit weekly, trying to connect the occupants to resources to help them. But people who live and walk in this area are concerned about how quickly this camp is expanding.
Shouldn't kids be able to be here without seeing some guy expose himself or running into a loose fire or even just sharp objects?
Now, Metro Councilman Jacob Coupin says that they need a lot more funding and resources to give these people permanent housing. But he says the city is committed to working together to address this issue. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Caitlin, thank you. The U.S. Supreme Court recently handed down a decision affirming a Tennessee law making it illegal to camp on public property like this, leaving enforcement, though, up to cities. It happened just last week. Fox 17 News asked the mayor's office if they plan to enforce the citywide camping ban in light of the High Court's decision. And the word we got back is their goal is to focus on providing housing and services for the city's homeless population.
Do you feel like this will serve as a deterrent for juveniles to stop committing offenses, including violent crime?
In Operation Crime and Justice, a new state law allows judges to hold parents accountable for their children's crimes. The ultimate decision is up to the judge. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar has more on whether they'll use this tool and whether juvenile crime experts think it will work.
The law is meant to try to stop children from committing crimes before it turns into serious crimes.
The Parental Accountability Act is now law. If you're a parent, you can be fined up to $1,000 for your child's crime. I sat down with State Representative John Gillespie, who helped make this a law.
It starts somewhere. Every crime starts somewhere. Very rarely does someone just murder someone.
Across Nashville, we've seen several cases involving teens accused of committing violent crime, like the teenager who Metro Police say was shot and killed by another teen at Madison Park last month. Under this new law, a judge decides whether or not to fine a parent. The law also offers the ability for the parent to do community service instead. Judge Sheila Calloway is a juvenile court judge. She believes in rehabilitation.
Do you feel like this will serve as a deterrent for juveniles to stop committing offenses, including violent crime?
I do think that the Parental Accountability Act can have some effect on some of the parents and the youth.
But Judge Calloway tells me there are other ways to stop juvenile crime in case the parent can't afford to pay.
Any child that's placed on probation, we can order the parents to participate into their programs.
Some might think that it's harsh for parents to have to be accountable for their kids' actions. What's your reaction to that?
They should think about that before having the children. Having a child is a responsibility.
In the next legislative session, Representative Gillespie wants to take the decision out of the judge's hands and make the penalties mandatory. Reporting in front of the Capitol, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, we want to know what you think. A new state law allows juvenile judges to fine parents for crimes committed by their children. Do you agree or disagree with this law? Here are the results on your screen. 381 people weighing in. 76.4% say they agree. 23.6% say disagree. This poll is live right now, so there's still time to cast your vote. Just scan the QR code on the right hand of your screen. It will take you over to our X page. Our handle is @FoxNashville, and we'll show you updated results tonight at 10.
If your holiday plans include boating on one of Middle Tennessee's lakes and rivers, be prepared to navigate large crowds and be prepared to try to keep you and your crew safe on board. Fox 17 News' Johnny Maffey on Percy Priest Lake now with some safety reminders.
What the first responders are saying is a BUI is a DUI, but there's so much else that goes into staying safe on the water, including the elephant in the room right here, right?
Yeah, life jackets, life jackets, life jackets. I mean, whenever you're out on the water, you have to have a life jacket for everybody on the boat. Kids 12 and under have to wear a life jacket the entire time.
And you're saying it's good to just, when the boat's moving, stay calm.
Stay calm, stay seated, no bow riding. You know, there's a lot of people, you see them sitting on the front of the boat while it's in motion. That is absolutely the most dangerous thing you can do. Keep your head on a swivel, have your kill switch connected to you just in case.
It's going to be hot, stay hydrated out there, have a very happy and safe 4th of July.
Back to you.
Well, if you're heading downtown to celebrate tomorrow, there is an entirely free family fun zone that you may want to check out, and you can find it right here at the Walk of Fame Park, and that's on the backside of Bridgestone Arena, just in front of the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum, and it's also at the corner of 4th and South there on Demumbrian. There will be live music, a 22-foot inflatable slide, an obstacle course, a bungee jump, balloon artists, face painting, and all sorts of family fun. There will also be misting tents and water stations to cool off. The family-free fun zone opens up at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and it closes at 5.
That should be fun. And for the first time ever, drones will play a role in tomorrow's 4th of July celebration downtown. Here's what we know. Of course, Nashville always puts on one of the greatest fireworks shows in the nation. Everybody says so. You can catch the fireworks along the riverfront, of course, as they light over 20,000 fireworks from in front of Nissan Stadium, and some even on floating flares there in the river itself. Now, as we mentioned, the large collection of drones going to be in play this year, all controlled by just one person.
400 drones controlled by one pilot. All that work that happened beforehand from the animators, about 150 hours. The pilot's job here is just to make sure that all the drones are doing what they need to do, everything's safe, synchronize their clocks, send them in the air, and then monitor for safety throughout the show.
I've seen this on video. Should be cool in person. Drones have been increasing in popularity in recent years for 4th of July celebrations. They're less harmful to wildlife, of course. They don't make any loud noises that can be a problem for pets and veterans. Nashville's drone show will be synchronized to live music from the Nashville Symphony, which will be headquartered at the Ascend Amphitheater right on the river. The fireworks and the drone show will get underway at 9:30.
Coming up, Fox 17 News sitting down with a
Tonight in Crisis in the Classroom, Williamson County school leaders refuse a meeting with the parents of a special education student because the family brought an advocate with them.
Well, advocates say that's against the law, and the family feels that the school is failing their daughter. Fox 17 News' Amanda Chin sitting down with the mother and pushing the district for answers.
At first, this family thought things were going well with their 11-year-old daughter. But as the weeks went on, they started to notice regression and change in her behaviors. That's when the family started to dig for answers.
An individual education program, also known as an IEP, a necessary plan to meet a child's specific and unique needs. It's something 11-year-old Tess Carter relies on to receive the best education possible. Tess has Down syndrome and goes to Bethesda Elementary School in Williamson County. But this year hasn't been the best experience for Tess. Mom, Anna Carter, says it took months to get an IEP meeting.
We finally got a meeting scheduled for May 3rd. So we had this meeting scheduled, finally figured out a time everyone could be there.
Anna decided to bring an advocate with her to this meeting. The Carter family was waiting at the school for about 20 minutes when they say the principal came out and canceled the IEP meeting. Anna says the administrators told her the reason they brought an advocate. Here's a small portion of the conversation recorded by the advocate.
It's that I would feel better having someone from central office, from Student Support Services here to kind of keep their eye on things.
Keep their eye on what? We're her parents. So do you have the power to meet with us right now?
I mean, I've been told everything I've always been told.
No, it's yes or no. Do you have the power to meet with us right now? It's yes or no. Like, do you or don't you?
Guess no.
You guess no?
I don't know if it's a yes or no answer.
According to this family's advocate, the school's refusal violates the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which says a parent may bring other individuals who have knowledge or special expertise regarding the child.
It was very frustrating, and not only frustrating, but scary, because I even asked her, do you have our child's interests at heart? And she said, oh, 100%, absolutely. But then I said, no, you do not, because if you did, we would meet.
Anna asked for an investigation into this. Emails sent to us by the mother from Superintendent Jason Golden shows his apology and assurance that the allegations against his staff are fully investigated and appropriate action is taken. An assistant superintendent sent the family back a response, saying that administrators could use discretion about proceeding with the IEP meeting, which was appropriate under IDEA, and then goes on to say, it is my opinion that while it was within her discretion to cancel the IEP, it was not the best decision to make on behalf of the IEP team or Tess. But this isn't the only issue the Carter family's had, including Anna's belief there's been a decline in her academic progress, including claims Tess's IEP is not being followed.
We've noticed on her history logs on her Chromebook that a lot of that time she's actually spending on her computer playing games or watching, PBS shows like Daniel Tiger.
I reached out to the district to ask at least 3 times if they are able to confirm an IEP meeting scheduled for May 3rd was canceled because the family brought an advocate. The response I received from a spokesperson says, "I do not have any information regarding the IEP meeting you are asking about. Sorry." That's when I submitted several public records requests for emails related to this incident and several personnel files. I am waiting to get those documents. In the meantime, the district sent me this response saying, in part, "I can tell you that our special education teachers and staff work each day to provide the best educational opportunities for each child based on that child's needs. We are proud of our special education teachers and staff and the services they provide."
This mother says she decided to speak up because she hopes this sparks change within the district. She also wants to help other special education families understand that this behavior is not okay. Reporting in the studio, I'm Amanda Chin, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, tomorrow is going to be another hot one for us. We have another round of heat alerts that are in effect. Heat advisories in effect for a lot of us. Heat index values for everybody that's highlighted in that shade of orange could see heat index values, so what it could feel like up to about 110 or so. And then over there in our far western counties, Henry, Benton, and Decatur counties, all those under that excessive heat warning. That's going to go until 9 p.m. on Thursday. Heat index values pushing maybe even a little bit above 110. These heat advisories are set to run until 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. Temperatures right now, they are in the low to upper 80s. It is 9:20 right now. We're just 3 degrees off of our average high temperature right here in Nashville for this time of year. Average high 90. We're at 87 right now. A few clouds out there, and we're going to stay that way as we head through the rest of the night as well. We do have some showers and thunderstorms that are just north of here, and we've actually had a few of these drop down into parts of our viewing area, but this is really not amounting to much right now, and I think that's pretty much going to stay the case as we head through the rest of the night. As we head on into tomorrow, we could see a few more showers and thunderstorms develop. I think there's about a 60% chance for some more showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. Some of those could produce some strong gusty winds, mainly in the northern 2/3 of our viewing area. That'll be the main threat under that level 1 risk. The strong gusty winds, brief heavy rainfall also going to be possible too. So for the rest of tonight, we could still see a few of those showers drop down into parts of southern Kentucky. Really don't think we'll have to worry about much with that though. This is for your 4th of July forecast right here. Starting around noon, some scattered showers and thunderstorms will start to develop. They continue to push off to the east through the rest of the afternoon hours. That's the 5 o'clock picture. But then by about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or so, I think we're pretty much going to be clearing on out. So any of those fireworks shows a little bit later on in the evening into the night, I think those should be going off pretty well. Don't think we're really going to have to worry about much of a rain chance for any of those. Moving on into Friday morning, 7 a.m., more showers and thunderstorms will be possible, and we keep that rain chance around with us off and on throughout the day on Friday. More details coming up on your 7-day forecast here in just a bit.
More Democrats are saying it might be time for the president to go, but Joe Biden and his team are saying they're
Well, all eyes are on President Joe Biden as he continues to work to assure voters and top Democratic Party leaders that he's up for another term.
Yeah, there's been so much talk. Fox 17 News' Matt Galka has the very latest tonight from Washington, and you can vote on this issue by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen during our story.
The president confided in at least one ally that he's weighing whether or not to continue in the race. It was a bombshell headline from the New York Times Wednesday, citing an anonymous ally who says Biden knows he needs to perform well in the public eye this week. Both the Biden campaign and the White House were quick to deny the report.
Look, that is false. There are a number of rumors floating out there. The president is in this race to win it.
The president is clear-eyed, and he is staying in the race.
Texas Congressman Lloyd Doggett is the only sitting Democrat to call for the president to end his campaign. House Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez told our sister station K2 in Portland, Oregon, she thinks the election has been decided.
We all saw what we saw. You can't undo that. Truth, I think, is that Biden is going to lose to Trump. I know that's difficult, but I think the damage has been done by that debate.
Reuters reports 25 House Democrats are preparing to call for the president to step aside if he seems shaky in the coming days. Biden is speaking with Democratic governors as his campaign continues to try and weather the storm and assure members of his own party he can continue on. The speculation is rampant about what might happen if the president bows out. A CNN poll from this week showed Vice President Kamala Harris running just 2 points behind former President Donald Trump in a hypothetical matchup. The same poll had Biden trailing Trump by 6 points. Republicans have apparently taken notice of the potential momentum behind Harris, too. The National Republican Congressional Committee put out a new ad blaming the vice president for the border crisis. Before the ad asks, is this who we want to be president? The president will have multiple chances this week to try and rebound. He'll tape a sit-down interview with ABC on Friday and also appear at a rally in Wisconsin that day, before appearing at another rally in Philadelphia over the weekend. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
During that story, we had a QR code up linking you to a poll asking whether you think President Biden is fit to serve another term. Over 1,000 votes in, 92.5% say no, we don't think so. Our thanks to all who took time to vote.
Well, keeping you safe this 4th of July, a nationwide group visiting Nashville to offer assistance.
With more than 200,000 people expected to be downtown tomorrow to celebrate 4th of July, a nonprofit whose members are dedicated to public safety down there now setting up shop.
Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan caught up with Red Frogs USA as they make a return visit to Music City after last month's CMA Fest.
With safety on the top of everyone's mind following the death and disappearance of Riley Strain, Red Frogs USA says that their efforts are early intervention. They'll be set up here at Music City Walk of Fame come tomorrow for the July 4th festivities. Now they're calling this area the Chill Out Zone. From 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. come July 4th, Red Frogs volunteers in groups of 30 will be handing out water, sunscreen, phone chargers, all while providing an area for you to meet up with friends and, in some cases, even get rides home free of charge. The nonprofit is expecting thousands to hit Broadway for the 4th of July, and with those numbers, they're hoping to prevent anyone from getting hurt while drinking.
It can be a really unsafe thing when you've lost your friends, you don't know your way around, and you're trying to get home. And so that's why our Red Frog volunteers, they're going to be right there in the heart of Nashville with these celebrations to charge phones, hand out cups of water, be a friendly face and, just be a positive presence.
They also worked during CMA Fest, where the Nashville Red Frogs director says that they handed out over 33,000 cups of water and charged over 1,000 phones. And if you don't already know, we will be under that code red weather alert. It's going to be super hot out here for those 4th of July festivities. But Red Frog says that they are prepared in offering again that water as well as a cool place to relax during these celebrations. In Nashville, Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, new tonight, the shopping app Temu coming under fire as a growing number of government officials question how the Chinese-backed company allegedly collects and uses shoppers' personal data. Fox 17 News' Atra El Nashar has the details.
Just about every fashion and household item you can think of, you can find on Temu. And for prices so low, you might not believe if you didn't see for yourself. Like this 5-pack of microfiber dish towels for 39 cents.
You may be thinking, how can they sell that so low? Because it's not their business. Their business is the data.
In a new lawsuit filed by Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin against Temu's Chinese holding company, the state alleges Temu's business model relies on collecting sensitive personal information with spyware and malware.
Biometric data, like your fingerprints, and also your location, your specific location.
Allegedly violating state trade and privacy laws. A Temu spokesperson tells us the allegations in the lawsuit are based on misinformation circulated online, primarily from a short seller, and are totally unfounded. We categorically deny the allegations and will vigorously defend ourselves. Two separate class action lawsuits filed in Illinois and New York make almost identical allegations, which Temu also denied and claimed safeguarding privacy is one of the company's core values.
Here in Washington, Temu and other apps owned by Chinese companies like TikTok are scrutinized for potential threats to national security because Chinese law requires its companies to comply with Communist Party operations. U.S. officials fear that includes handing over Americans' user data.
Foreign adversaries use technology for social and political control.
Those who have the best information have the power.
Because of a bipartisan national security law passed earlier this year, TikTok, and in the future, potentially other apps, must be sold from its Chinese parent company or be banned in the U.S. In Arkansas, the Attorney General seeks damages and injunctive relief to stop Temu's alleged data practices, suggesting it would dismantle their business model. In Washington, I'm Atrell Nashar reporting.
Well, it's going to be a hot day tomorrow, and that's why we are code red. We have the heat advisories in effect for much of Middle Tennessee. Like we were showing earlier, Henry, Benton, and Decatur County under those excessive heat warnings. We could have feels like temperatures pushing up to about 110 or so, maybe even going just a little bit higher than that, depending on where you're at. I think the actual air temperature here in Nashville should be around the mid-90s, so going with 96 for our high temperature tomorrow right here. Average high this time of year is 90 degrees, so we are going to be well above that once again. There's also going to be a chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms as we head throughout the day tomorrow. The good news, this is mostly going to be in the afternoon and the early evening hours. I think those rain showers and thunderstorms will start to clear out a little bit later on in the night. So around 8 o'clock or so, I think a lot of us are looking at dry conditions. So any of those firework plans a little bit later on in the day, I think those should be pretty good for you. We are going to start out hot, though, as we head through the next couple of days. Tomorrow, 96. We do drop down, though, lower 90s as we head on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, we're back to the mid-90s. And then we drop down a little bit as we head towards the middle of next week. It is going to be humid for the next couple of days. Again, that's why we have those heat advisories and excessive heat warnings in effect for tomorrow. Still up in the air on exactly how much we're going to get on Friday. We could see some showers too that might help out a little bit with that. Saturday and Sunday, though, humidity values drop down, and overall I think this weekend should be a pretty nice weekend for you. Mostly sunny and dry, and also not looking at much of a storm chance now. Yesterday it was looking like we could see some isolated showers and storms. Most recently, though, it doesn't look like we're going to see much of that on Saturday and Sunday if that stays the case. Good rain chances, though, as we head on into Thursday and Friday.
Just a hand from sparklers to fireworks.
Nashville turned into Splashville on Monday as General Manager Barry Trotz made a flurry of moves that combined for over $100 million in spending. What did he get in return? Well, he got the biggest and most expensive free agency signing class in Preds history. Take a look at the four most notable signings for the Predators this week. Former Lightning captain Steven Stamkos signing 4-year, $8 million annually. Defenseman Brady Shea, 7-year, $7 million annually. Forward Jonathan Marchessault, $5.5 million, 5 years. And goaltender Scott Wedgwood, he'll be backing up UC Saros, $1.5 million for 2 years. Preds are now well over the cap, which is, well, it's allowed during the offseason, but it does mean they'll have to move some things around to get back under before the season begins. Now, the two newly signed forwards, Marchessault and Stamkos, played together on the Tampa Bay Lightning during the 2014 and 2015 seasons. Marchessault won the Stanley Cup and the Conn Smythe Trophy with the Golden Knights 2 years ago, and he said his agent told him that Stamkos was looking at signing with the Preds as well. Marchessault said he picked up the phone, called his old teammate, and that's exactly what he needed to hear.
I called him and I was like, hey, you signing in Nashville? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, me too. So it just, after that, it was like, oh, perfect. We're going to go through the process of like looking for homes and all that kind of in schools and all that. So yeah, so that's kind of how it worked out.
Marchessault admitted he was disappointed when the Knights were unable to reach an agreement on his contract, but says he's grateful that it led him right here to Smashville. Nashville SC has officially found its new head coach. The club announcing today that B.J. Callahan is the U.S. men's national team assistant coach, will be taking over the club. Callahan has been with the U.S. men's national team since 2019 and led the team to the CONCACAF National League Championship as interim coach. He'll officially join Nashville SC July 22nd ahead of its League's Cup opener. In the meantime, interim coach Rumba Manthali will continue to lead the boys in gold, and that includes their match tonight against Columbus Crew. That was supposed to be a 5:30 kickoff, but bad weather pushed kickoff back closer to 8 p.m. So Columbus Crew with a 2-0 lead, still in action with about 10 minutes left to play. I'll have an update on that match later tonight at 10. Jill Jelnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Just ahead, avoiding an accident. Some advice on safe 4th of July at home from a local emergency room doctor.
And tracking Hurricane Beryl, where the powerful storm
A Fox 17 health alert now about some of the dangers to keep in mind as we head into the long 4th of July holiday weekend. Last year, firework accidents led to 8 deaths and nearly 10,000 injuries nationwide, and that's not the only danger out there. Joining us now with some advice on avoiding trouble is Dr. Evan Ali, a pediatric emergency room doctor at TriStar Centennial. And doctor, thank you for doing this. As it relates to the 4th of July and fireworks, what is the most common injury that you see coming to your ER?
Well, firework injuries are very common this time of year. I feel like most people think that we see really large injuries, and yes, there are hospitals that do see large explosive injuries, such as, hands, fingers being partially amputated. But really, the major injuries that we are going to see are burns, burns to the hands, the face, other parts of the body. And also we can see a lot of eye injuries, especially in young children, from things like sparklers.
Sure. There's so many different types of fireworks, sparklers included, and the smoke bombs and all that. Are there certain things you would tell parents, like maybe sparklers, would you say just don't do it at all?
Well, so I would say you need to exercise the same judgment you would with any other potentially dangerous item in your household. My good rule of thumb when I talk to parents and families about whether or not fireworks are safe for their children is I use the example of a lit birthday candle. It seems small and innocuous, but if you wouldn't trust your child alone or unsupervised with a lit birthday candle, they are probably way too young for any type of firework at all. And I think that's a good rule of thumb. And if you would trust them to hold the birthday candle, you would not want to do that alone. You wouldn't let them do that alone. So I think that that is a good guide to kind of get yourself started as to whether or not, fireworks of any type are appropriate for your child.
I like that. Fireworks aside, holidays are also a busy time. People have pools and have a lot of folks over. They're also at the lakes and the rivers. I'm guessing drowning dangers and things of that nature are a concern this time of year for folks in your profession as well.
Absolutely, especially with the scorching heat. Heat injuries are a whole different topic, but in terms of water safety, the most important thing to remember is that drowning it's usually a quiet process. And young children are going to be your highest risk. Drowning is the leading cause of death by injury in children under the age of 4. And one of the most important things, aside from fencing in your pool, if you can, if it's a pool we're talking about, is just supervision. Don't assume that because a child has passed swim lessons that they can't have a drowning injury or submersion injury. Always make sure that a responsible adult, someone that's definitely sober, is watching your children, and make sure that they're close enough, if it's a younger child, to be able to touch them in the water should they start struggling.
This is good information. Dr. Evan Ali, a pediatric emergency room physician at TriStar Centennial. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me, and happy 4th of July.
Some holiday travelers in Jamaica dealing with Hurricane Beryl as the storm batters the popular vacation spot with 140-mile-per-hour winds and torrential rains. Here's a live look over Jamaica tonight, where the National Hurricane Center says the eye wall is brushing the southern coast of the island. 3 major cruise lines have altered course in the Caribbean to avoid the path of the hurricane. In parts of southern Texas, voluntary evacuations are already being encouraged.
All right, time to talk about weather. No rain here today, at least not for most of us, but it is a possibility.
Yes, Scott, it is going to be a possibility for us for tomorrow. Scattered showers and thunderstorms actually likely, I think, for some areas here across Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky. I'll show you that map here in just a little bit. I want to start out, though, with the heat map. We are code red for the heat. We could see a few storms that try to get a little bit on the strong side for tomorrow, though. So starting it out with the heat, here's what we have going on. Heat advisories in effect for a lot of Middle Tennessee until 7 p.m. for those heat advisories. That's going to be for everybody highlighted in that shade of orange. Areas back a little bit further to the west. This is Henry, Benton, and Decatur counties. That's that excessive heat warning. That's going to run until 9 p.m. Thursday. Heat index values there could be pushing up to about 111 or so. So very hot across most of our viewing area. The only exception to that, even though it'll still be hot, is around the Cumberland Plateau, not included in those heat alerts. Temperatures right now upper 70s to the upper 80s, depending on where you're at. 79 McMinnville, same for Lebanon. 87 right here in Nashville. We're at 85 in Clarksville. Hopkinsville. Overall, the weather for us right now is pretty calm, and I think most of us will stay like that through the rest of tonight too. And we do have some showers and thunderstorms that are just a little bit north of our viewing area, pushing on into parts of Kentucky. We had a few of these that developed in parts of southern Kentucky. Still a couple of these thunderstorms that are pushing in there right near Hopkinsville, but that's about it. We might see a couple more of those develop as we head through the rest of the night. Not expecting a whole lot with that though. Maybe a couple of those try to produce some kind of strong wind gusts. That's about it. Not going to expect too much of a bad threat out of any of those for tonight. For tomorrow, that level 1 risk for about the northern 2/3 of us. That is going to be again for the chance for some strong wind gusts with some of those storms. Also some brief heavy rainfall possible with those. And this is mainly going to be an afternoon and early evening thing for us as we head on into tomorrow. I'll show you that right here on Future Track. So we're dry to start things out tomorrow morning. Your morning should be nice and dry. As we head on into the afternoon, that's the noon picture right here. We are going to start to see some more scattered showers and thunderstorms start to develop. This will push to the southeast as we head throughout the rest of the day. By 5 o'clock, we are going to start to see some clearing back behind that. More of these showers and storms in our southern and eastern areas. And then by about 7 or 8 o'clock, I think a lot of us are looking at dry conditions. So that means any of those firework plans that you have a little bit later on tomorrow night, I think we should be pretty much rain-free for any of that. But right on the heels of that, we're going to see that next round move through early Friday morning. But I think it will hold off just long enough for a nice night of the fireworks. So 7 o'clock Friday morning, we'll start out with some more showers and thunderstorms, and we'll keep that chance around with us off and on throughout the rest of the day on Friday. It does look like, though, now this weekend it should be pretty dry, mostly sunny and mostly dry for us. Humidity values also shouldn't be as bad for us as we go into the weekend. Independence Day forecast 2 p.m. mid-90s, 6 o'clock we'll be in the lower 90s, 10 we should be in the lower 80s, and again that rain chance does taper off the closer we get to about 10 o'clock. So I think by 8 again, a lot of us should be seeing mostly dry conditions across Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky. Friday, high temperatures in the lower 90s. We're going to stay in the lower 90s on Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny and dry, but then starting out next week, we do bring back that 40 to 50% chance for some more showers and thunderstorms.
Looking ahead now to Sunday on Fox 17 when our parent company Sinclair Broadcasting investigates Boeing. See interviews with whistleblowers and the problems plaguing this aerospace company. Don't miss the showstoppers, Boeing's no-fly zone, Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. here on Fox 17.
And dig into your wallet. What some burgers on the grill will cost you this 4th of July holiday.
Many of us will be firing up the grills for the 4th of July. Now, we've got some advice from firefighters about how you can stay safe and still enjoy the holiday that's coming up Thursday on the 4th of July edition of Fox 17 News this morning.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting. If you're planning to cook out tomorrow, be prepared to dig a lot deeper to pay for it.
Well, costs up 5% this year. That's according to the U.S. Farm Bureau. The organization says hosting a cookout for about 10 people will cost you over $71 this year, compared to about $67 last year. The price for 2 pounds of ground beef for burgers cost almost $13. Americans are expected to spend $9.4 billion on Independence Day cookout items this year.
Prices are up across the board for groceries. Consumers are frustrated every time we go to the grocery store.
Experts recommend shopping around to find the best deals.
You know what I love the best? Whenever the grocery stores have one of those buy one, get one free deals, either on the buns or the chips or the hot dogs or whatever.
Just check that expiration date.
Those are always nice. Oh, good information for sure.
Yeah.
I'll be up here. I don't plan on cooking out.
So. Maybe someone will bring you a plate.
Yeah. No, they're supposed to cook something here. There's a big sign-up thing. Yeah, that should be fun.
There you go.
All right, now. In the economy tonight, mark your calendars. Tennessee's tax-free weekend is just a few weeks away, between July 26th and 28th. So 26th, 27th, 28th. You can buy clothing, school supplies, and computers without paying the state sales tax. This discount applies to both online purchases and those purchases you make in person.
A homeless encampment is taking over the Greenway in Germantown. We'll hear from people who live in the area and Metro leaders coming up next.
A major change in actions at the southern border. I'm Christine Frizzau in Washington with what we're learning about the deportation of Chinese migrants.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
Well, it was a hot one for us today, and it's going to be another hot one for us as we head on into tomorrow, too. We already have heat alerts in effect for most of the viewing area for tomorrow, even some excessive heat warnings as well. I'll show you that map here in just a second. Starting it out, though, showing you these feels-like temperatures as we go throughout the day tomorrow. It's going to start out hot, and it's really not going to get a whole lot better as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon either. This is 10 a.m. tomorrow. It could be feeling like it's at or above 100 in a lot of these areas across Middle Tennessee and up into southern Kentucky, too. We are looking at some scattered showers and thunderstorms as we head throughout the day tomorrow. So if you get caught up in one of those thunderstorms, it will briefly drop your temperatures down, give you a little bit of relief from that heat. But some of those storms tomorrow could also bring in some heavy rainfall, some strong winds too. So here we go. There's an example right there. If that storm does move over Camden tomorrow around 2 o'clock, it could drop that significantly. And that's what we're going to see with some of these heat index values as we head throughout the day tomorrow. But overall, generally speaking, I think we're looking at about 105 to 110 for a lot of these areas as we go throughout the afternoon. Some areas might be going a little bit higher than that even. So it's going to be a hot one for us tomorrow. Because of that, the National Weather Service does have a lot of us here in Middle Tennessee in that heat advisory. Everybody in orange, that's set to run until 7 p.m. on 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. Heat index values again up to about 110 in those spots. And then over here in our more western areas, Henry, Benton, and Decatur counties, that excessive heat warning, that's going to go until 9 p.m. on Thursday. We could be pushing up a little bit above 110 in those areas for the feels-like temperatures. We have seen a few of these showers and thunderstorms up here in parts of southern Kentucky that developed over the past couple hours, really not causing too much of an issue. They are dropping some brief heavy rainfall, a little bit of lightning with some of those as well, but most areas are still seeing the dry conditions right now, and I think that's how we're going to stay for most all of us as we go through the overnight hours tonight. A few of those storms up there in southern Kentucky could bring in maybe just a couple of strong wind gusts. For tomorrow, a level 1 risk in effect for about the northern 2/3 of us. I think the main threat will be the chance for some strong wind gusts, very typical for this time of year with these storms during the summertime. Heavy rainfall going to be possible as well. The good news, though, I do not think we're going to have to worry about any sort of tornado threat as we go throughout the day for tomorrow. I'll show you more details on the timing and also take a more in-depth look at the 4th of July forecast coming up for you here in just a little bit.
Some might think that it's harsh for parents to have to be accountable for their kids' actions. What's your reaction to that?
Tonight on Operation Crime and Justice, a new state law that allows the courts to fine parents $1,000 if their children are repeat offenders or commit violent crimes.
Question is, will the judges around our state use this tool, and will it have the intended effect? Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar with reaction tonight from a local judge.
Well, it all comes down to accountability. Some people say it's not necessary, and others say it would help stop crime. We have seen teens accused of killing teens in recent months, raising concerns for both residents and lawmakers alike. State Representative John Gillespie, who is one of the sponsors of this law, says it doesn't have to come to that. He believes holding parents early will prevent or reduce violent crime. The law allows judges to fine a parent $1,000 for a child's second offense. Metro Juvenile Judge Sheila Calloway thinks there are better ways than fining a parent.
So when I think about this current legislature about the fines and up to $1,000 fine, I also think about the youth and the families that we serve. The majority of them are living in poverty already, are not making a lot of money, and this may be an undue hardship.
The law also permits parents to do a community service instead of pay a fine. Right now, that's at the judge's discretion, but Representative Gillespie wants to change that. In the next legislative session, Gillespie wants to try to take the discretion out of the judge's hands and make the penalties mandatory. Reporting in front of the Capitol, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
It's gotten a lot worse this past summer.
And the high cost of homelessness tonight, focusing on a growing homeless camp that's taking over part of the Cumberland River Greenway downtown. The problems include tents right there beside the Greenway, a lot of garbage and drugs as well. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live downtown at the Metro Courthouse after speaking with city leaders about this growing camp.
Yes, Scott. Well, we spoke with Metro Councilman Jacob Coupin, who represents this district along with the Office of Homeless Services. Now, they say that they're committed to helping the people who are living inside of this encampment, but the people who are living in this neighborhood are asking, what about them? Now, today we spoke with a man named Sam Harris, who has skateboarded on this greenway for 3 years now. Harris says this encampment is growing fast. He He says there's now more homeless people, tents, trash, and it's causing a lot more safety concerns for all the people who use this greenway and live in the area.
If you listen closely, you can hear they have a fully functioning stereo system. They have some sort of power source generator, and then the tents themselves will go all the way back until the greenway curves.
Fox 17 News went to Metro's Office of Homeless Services, who say outreach workers are aware and deployed to this area on a weekly basis to connect them to resources and service providers. Now, Metro Councilman Coopin says that we need a lot more funding and resources to get these people permanent housing. But he says the city as a whole is committed to solving this problem. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Covering the Capitol, Democrats in the U.S. House are having mixed responses to President Biden's recent debate performance. At least one sitting House Democrat has called on Biden to withdraw from the race so far. Others say that they're worried Biden will lose to former President Trump if he's the nominee. South Carolina Representative James Claiborne says that at a minimum, the primary is possible if Biden drops out.
The process that's already in place to make it a mini primary, and I would support that, absolutely. We can't close that down and we should open up everything for the general elected.
President Biden says he is staying in the race. Top Democratic leaders appear to be standing behind the president. Senate Majority Chuck Schumer expressed his support for Biden after the debate.
Well, shifting gears, there is no better way, of course, to celebrate the 4th of July than a good old-fashioned fireworks show. Wallet Hub just released a new list of fun facts about July fireworks in general. Get this, 44% of Americans will attend a fireworks show this year. That's roughly 150 million people. More than 14,000 different fireworks displays will take place tomorrow alone to celebrate Independence Day. In 2023, so last year, the U.S. imported an estimated $396 million worth of fireworks. That's how much was imported in order to put on all those shows. Now, closer to home, it's no secret Nashville has a big show. They call it Let Freedom Sing. It always is one of the best in the country and the biggest, attracting more than 200,000. Leaders at the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, tonight are pushing the U.S. and other major economies to address the staggering growth of global public debt.
Fox 17 News' Atra El-Nashar joining us from Washington, and that debt now tops $91 trillion.
Now is the time, the IMF says, for nations to get their government debt under control. A cumulative $91 trillion in public debt worldwide threatens to destabilize developing countries. In Kenya, unrest stemming from a finance bill that would raise the cost of living as the government faces immense pressure to pay down its $80 billion debt burden. In major economies, debt is forcing governments to face some tough decisions. Just last year in France, pension reform sparked mass protests as the government raised the retirement age from 62 to 64. Here in the U.S., with the biggest economy in the world, the national debt stands at $34.8 trillion, the most of any country. But in proportion to GDP, U.S. debt is the 5th highest in the world, according to the latest IMF figures. The IMF continues to urge the U.S. to seize on this moment of growth and low unemployment to address its debt.
It is in good times where you can do more to prepare yourself for risks in the future. You know the saying, you can take a horse to water, you cannot force the horse to drink.
But doing so would require tough choices, like trimming retirement benefits, raising taxes, cutting spending, perhaps a combination of all three. And in an election year, candidates for Congress and the White House are largely reluctant to put their name on such a plan.
We were ready to start paying down debt. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period.
President Biden wants to raise taxes on corporations and the wealthy, while former President Trump wants to keep corporate taxes low, claiming it will generate growth to pay down the debt. Now, over at the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, experts estimate that the government is on track to spend $1.9 trillion more than it will bring in revenue. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar.
A major change in actions at the southern border. I'm Christine Frizzell in Washington with what we're learning about the deportation.
Signed, sealed, and almost delivered. Skydance Media reaching a preliminary deal with National Amusements to merge with Paramount. The on-again, off-again deal is being reviewed and voted on by a Paramount special committee. Skydance will acquire roughly half of Paramount's controlling shares at $15 a share for $4.5 billion and $1.5 billion towards Paramount's balance sheet. A deal would usher in a new chapter for the iconic Hollywood company known for films like Titanic, Indiana Jones, and The Godfather. The FDA approving a new Alzheimer's treatment for patients facing the early stages of the disease. President of Eli Lilly's neuroscience arm saying in a press release the drug demonstrated very meaningful results for people with early symptomatic Alzheimer's disease who urgently need effective treatment options. The company says the drug called Kisunla will be available within weeks. About 5.8 million Americans have Alzheimer's or related issues. The CDC predicts that number will rise to 14 million people by 2060. And a new study revealing the age divide in who believes the American dream is still possible. 51% of 18 to 29-year-olds think it used to be achievable but isn't now, while 68% of those over 65 believe it's still feasible. That's business. CJ Papa, Fox News.
Continuing coverage of the crisis at the border as Chinese nationals have been crossing the U.S.-Mexico border in historic numbers.
But as Fox 17 News' Christine Frizzell shows us, the White House says it plans to send hundreds of those migrants back, a process they say that's already started.
It's just the latest chapter in the changing face of immigration in the United States. CBS's 60 Minutes capturing the trend earlier this year of migrants from China entering the country illegally.
Over 4 days, we witnessed nearly 600 migrants, adults and children, pass through this hole and onto U.S. soil.
The shift in numbers has been profound. The U.S. Border Patrol apprehending 342 Chinese migrants in 2021, a number that grew to nearly 2,000 the following year, and then skyrocketed, already surpassing 31,000 for fiscal year 2024, with several months to go.
Nearly all of them are being released into an asylum process that will take years to conclude.
But now, a shift. The Department of Homeland Security just announced it oversaw a removal flight, the first since 2018, conducted in close coordination with the National Immigration Administration of the People's Republic of China, part of President Biden's recent executive actions to secure the southern border.
If they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States.
According to Border Patrol, many Chinese migrants use human smugglers. And while the vast majority appear to come for economic reasons, there are growing fears some may intentionally come illegally to avoid high-level background checks.
The Chinese government is only going to tell us as much as it wants to tell us. If you wanted to evade that vetting that the 9/11 Commission indicated was absolutely crucial to Homeland Security, sending individuals to the southwest border and having them cross legally into the United States would be the best way to do it.
President Biden's changes in border policy appear to have been followed by some significant drops in encounters at the southern border. But the numbers are still more than double what they were in the years 2017 to 2020. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell.
Right now, breaking news from Lawrence County, where a sheriff's deputy has been killed in a motor vehicle accident. This is a picture of Deputy Anthony Kutcher and his dog. We're told that he passed away today following an accident in Lawrenceburg. Not a lot of additional details right now, but we will give you more information as we get it online at fox17.com.
Today was a hot one. Tomorrow is going to be no different. In fact, it might even get a little bit hotter, too. We have heat alerts in effect for a lot of us here across Middle Tennessee and in the southern Kentucky as well. Heat advisories in effect for everybody in that shade of orange. Those are the heat advisories that are up for tomorrow. and those are going to run until 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Heat index values in those areas could be pushing up to about 110 or so. So it could feel like it's about 110 degrees across a lot of Middle Tennessee. And then our far western areas, this is Henry, Benton, and Decatur counties. Everybody highlighted in that shade of purple. Those are going to go until 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. Heat index values in those spots could be around 111, maybe even just a little bit higher than that. So tomorrow is going to be a very warm one. There is also a chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. More on that in just a second. Current temperatures there in the upper 70s for most spots or the mid 80s. So 85, that's our current temperature right here in Nashville. A pretty calm night for us. Most areas are all dry, and I think most of us are going to stay that way. We do have some showers and thunderstorms though that have started to develop over the past few hours up there in our southern Kentucky counties. That is about it. There's that one storm that's moving right around the Hopkinsville area, and otherwise it is all dry for us here across Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky right now. Might see a couple more storms develop in those areas as we head through the rest of the overnight hours. Overall, they're not expecting anything really too bad for those spots later on tonight. Maybe just a couple of strong wind gusts. Severe weather outlook for tomorrow. A level 1 risk for the northern 2/3 of the viewing area. The main concerns tomorrow, the chance for some strong damaging winds and maybe a little bit of flooding in more of those flood prone areas. We are going to see some of those storms that try to drop some pretty heavy rainfall pretty quickly. The main time for this is going to be in the afternoon on into the earlier part of the evening hours. I'll show you that timing to you right here on Future Track. So for tomorrow morning, we're off to a dry start. We start to increase that rain chance. This is the noon picture right here. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will start to develop. These are going to continue to push across Middle Tennessee throughout the afternoon hours. And by about 7, 8 o'clock or so tomorrow evening, I think most of us are actually looking at dry conditions. So any of those firework plans that you have later on a Thursday night, I think those are looking pretty good as of right now. Tomorrow morning, Friday morning, this is 7 o'clock Friday morning, some more showers and thunderstorms will develop, and we'll keep that rain chance around with us off and on, at least for the first half of the day on Friday. Maybe a couple more showers and storms later on Friday evening too. Right now though, the weekend is looking better than what it was looking like yesterday. I think we'll be a little bit cooler, highs in the lower 90s as we head on to Saturday and Sunday, also drier and mostly sunny. Independence Day breakdown, 2 p.m., a better chance for showers and storms through the afternoon hours into the early evening too. 90 your temperature by 6 o'clock, and then by 10 p.m. I do think we are much drier and across Middle Tennessee, including right here in Nashville. 83 your temperature by 10 o'clock on the 4th. Friday we're at 92, our high temperature, then an 80% chance for showers and thunderstorms. Saturday, Sunday looking drier now, highs in the lower 90s, mostly sunny. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we start to bring in that better chance.
Nashville turned into Splashville on Monday as General Manager Barry Trotz made a flurry of moves that combined for over $100 million in spending. And what did he get in return? He got the biggest and most expensive free agency signing class in Preds history. Take a look at the 4 most notable signings this week for the Predators. Former Lightning captain Steven Stamkos signing 4-year, $8 million annually. Defenseman Brady Shea, 7-year, $7 million. Forward Jonathan Marchessault, $5.5 million, 5 years. And goaltender Scott Wedgwood, who will be backing up UC Soros, $1.5 for 2 years. A lot of moves, and 2 of those newly signed forwards, Marchessault and Stamkos, actually played together on the Tampa Bay Lightning during the 2014 and 2015 seasons. Marchessault, who won the Stanley Cup and the Conn Smythe Trophy with the Knights 2 years ago, said his agent told him that Stamkos was looking at signing with the Preds as well. Marchessault then picked up the phone, called his teammate, and that's exactly what he needed to hear.
Called him and I was like, hey, you signing in Nashville? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, me too. So it just, after that, it was like, oh, perfect. We're going to go through the process of like looking for homes and all that kind of in schools and all that. So yeah, so that's kind of how it worked out.
Marchessault admitted he was disappointed when the Knights were unable to reach an agreement on a contract, but he also said he's grateful that it eventually led him right here to the Music City. Nashville SC has officially found its new head coach. The club announcing today that B.J. Callahan will be the new head coach, and he is the U.S. men's national team assistant coach and will now take over here in Nashville. He will join the club July 22nd ahead of its League Cup opener. And in the meantime, interim coach Rumba Menthali will continue to lead the team. And that includes their game tonight against Columbus Crew. The Crew, the defending MLS champions, drawing first blood. 29th minute mark mark right here. Christian Ramirez gets a good bounce, heads it right in. And if you take another look at this, the ball actually looked to be out of bounds right here on your left-hand side, but no whistle, and it ended up being a goal. So Columbus went up 1-0. They'd add one more goal in the second half, and Nashville was never able to answer back. Nashville losing its second straight match tonight, 2-0 to the defending MLS champs. Now, the good news is, arguably the hardest stretch of the season for the boys in gold is now over, and they will shift their focus to their match next weekend when they face Portland on the road. Jill Jelnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Well, earlier in the newscast, we told you about our X poll. A new state law allows juvenile judges to fine parents for crimes committed by their children. Do you agree or disagree with this law? 416 people weighing in, 76.4% of respondents.
In national news, President Biden is proposing a new rule to address the excessive heat some folks experience in the workplace.
And as Fox 17 News' Jeff Harris reports, his announcement comes as tens of millions of Americans are currently under heat advisories.
This proposal is meant to protect employees by holding employers accountable, specifically in industries where excessive heat is a major threat. Think construction, landscaping, and also farming. And if it's finalized, this would mark the first major federal safety standard of its kind. Identify heat hazards, develop emergency response plans, and provide training to employees on the signs and symptoms of heat illness. Those are the guidelines under the new rule proposed by President Biden to protect employees from extreme heat.
Everyone's going to get treated fairly. They're just communities, not red communities, blue communities, they're just communities. Families looking for help.
Daniel Smith is an assistant professor in the School of Nursing at the University of Buffalo. He tells us, with the extreme heat we've been experiencing across the country, a federal rule like this would do a lot of good.
It's being acknowledged. It's great to see it coming down.
But in order to make sure the rule is implemented properly, Smith says specifics need to be identified.
We're going to need additional guidance on what is that going to look like. How long should workers be working in high heat conditions before they take a break, for example? Should it be 30 minutes? Should it be 40 minutes? Should it be 50 minutes?
He also tells us it's important to keep in mind where you live, because certain parts of the country experience more extreme heat than others.
It's going to be based on the humidity. The heat index is really going to be key for this.
Plus, this rule can't be set in stone. Smith says it needs to continue to evolve.
We are going to have to regularly reevaluate these types of rules and show how different working environments need to be constantly updated as the planet continues to warm.
If finalized, this new rule would override state measures, and states with existing procedures already in place to deal with the heat would have to put in place measures that meet the same standards as the federal rule. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.